Right. Cool. We're back. The Sauce Pod number 7. Um, it is super rainy here in Houston. We do have the World Series,
Yeah,
the
tonight,
Astros
game
tonight.
one.
Is it here? Like I should
It
know
is
this, but it is
today and
here.
tomorrow. First two games, yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's yeah. I probably should know that, but I'm not really a baseball watcher. But whatever.
So you know where the
It's here.
Formula One guys are, right?
Yes, yes, they're in Mexico right now. I just watched their first race or their first practice race. I was actually not watching it because I was driving, but I have a way of listening to it on the Formula One app, and so I can listen to the race and I can
Oh,
hear
nice.
how things are going. And yeah, no, it's not to get on a tangent of Formula One, but it's cool, man. It's cool being able to learn it. I slowly have started diving into the Formula One Fantasy League, so I'm kind of testing that out. And so apparently, like it's really cool. You can like win some pretty cool stuff. Like you can win like tickets to go and see the actual Formula One race, like just by doing And I think there's like money involved because I know that there's money involved in like the other fantasy leagues, like football, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken. And so there's also a video game called Formula One Manager. So it's super nerdy. Like you're essentially the manager, or what they call is the principal, and you don't actually race the cars. You are in charge of the strategy, and you are in charge of like the drivers. You're in charge of the team. You're in charge of the car, and you get to go in there and tweak everything and change things, and you get a certain amount of money, and it's just crazy. So you're considered the manager. That's what it's called, Formula One Manager. And so I was watching some gameplay this morning, and I'm assuming that if someone were to kind of dive into that, like their level of Formula One would be like like hockey stick, because like
Mm,
that's some in-depth stuff. You know what I mean? Like having to
right.
understand even tires. Like there's like a whole psychology and strategy behind tires. There's like 3 different types of tires that they use. It's a whole thing. I don't have like an Xbox or a PlayStation or anything like that, so I probably won't get the Formula One Manager anytime soon. Um, but yeah, so I know the Formula One more than I know about baseball. So
Right. I only pay attention to baseball when it starts to get good and we're winning, and I barely pay attention at that. My sister kind of keeps me updated, so
your sister's
um,
a big baseball fan.
yeah, she likes sports in general, like, or I guess
Cool.
like Houston sports, like Texans, but the Astros have been good for a number of years now. I mean,
Yeah.
2017 World Series, and now we're back.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Would
we
you
win it
say?
this year.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Would you say that you're like a sports fan in general, or you're just like not really into sports?
I would pay more attention to like alternative sports. Like I'm like an X Games kind of guy. I've been to the
Dang,
X Games. I think that was super badass.
that's dope.
Like I don't pay attention to like
The
yeah,
traditional,
baseball or football and stuff like that. Yeah.
right?
I mean, I like basketball, but I still don't
Yeah,
really like pay a lot of attention to. I'm not a stats kind of guy. Yeah,
right.
I'm more like I would I skateboarded back in the day. That's like my
Sure.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like Rob. He came up with that street league, um, that skateboard street league kind of
Yeah.
thing. So that was kind of like a cool, kind of somewhat making, I guess, skateboarding more mainstream, in a way.
Hmm.
Making it like a show, a competition was really cool. I thought that was a really cool idea that he did that. And then yeah, I would agree. Like I grew up doing motocross and supercross stuff like that, and then a little bit of wake skating. So it was more like you said. Would you call it alternative sports or like extreme sports,
Yeah.
right?
Extreme sport. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, no, I like that. And and that's kind of why I started watching the Formula One, is because it's just different. You know what I mean? And it's on. And another thing, I am one of the ones that actually started watching the show on Netflix, and so
Mhm.
that actually helped me kind of get into it because they get you on Netflix. I'm like, man, that looks cool. And I'm also like, I try not to be a car guy, but I'm a car guy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm kind of a car guy. And so, I saw the little thing on Netflix. And so went in there. I was like, oh, this is kind of a show behind the Formula One. I didn't really know anything about Formula One. And so when you watch the show, I think it's like Drive to Survive or, something like that. You get to understand like the kind of behind the scenes and the tradings. Like this guy's going to be going to this team over here, and like even it gets a little personal. Like it'll film something like them at their house, and you'll just like kind of get like a whole perspective of these drivers, and so you it's like kind of character building. It's like a show. So that was what kind of got me into wanting to like kind of dive into it.
Gotcha.
So yeah. But
you said Rob Dyrdek. I felt like that was a pretty good transition into the Tiger 21, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I was watching a show, My First Million, and it was a really good one, man. Rob Dyrdek he has the Dyrdek machine, which is his company name. And it's essentially a business that builds businesses. And so I've always liked Rob. I grew up watching, Rob and Big, super hilarious, right?
Yeah.
So, like, did you watch it as well?
I watched some of it. I'm not even much of a TV guy either. Like,
Sure.
What are my real interests, I guess, but like, yeah, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I thought that he had some really funny stuff. And
Yeah.
I feel like he's a good mix of like a personality and also like a businessman. He's kind of like the Jay-Z of like the skateboarding and like sports world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and then Fantasy Factory was really cool. I actually like forced myself to not watch it because of how fun they were having, and it kind of was like a reflection how boring my life was. It's kind of depressing, but I was just like, damn, they're having so much fun on this, Fantasy Factory show. Like they're just doing cool shit all the time, which was So, but anyways, so I was watching Sam Parr and Sean talking to Rob, and Rob's a machine now, man. And he's married too, and so it was really interesting how he's so efficient with his time, and like how he just does things, and he had mentioned in the video that the podcast that his wife was like feeling a little distant, I guess, not really not really being able to be involved or like just really understand like what he has going on for the day, and so he started making it to where he says that it's like his life is like as automated as he can make it. Like, so he'll have like an email that goes out to his wife and kind of explains what he's got going on for that day. And then he will bring her a coffee at the same time every morning. And then like, it's really cool. Like I love that kind of stuff. Like I could definitely see myself doing something similar to that. And, but then we were talking about Tiger 21. I got it pulled up here, but it's essentially this like peer group for fellow wealth creators. I mean, I think it's like the 1% of the 1% that are in this thing. I think that I saw that there was like 1,100 members in here, and it's just all kinds of different people. And he was explaining a little bit about it. It's like you get up there and you're in this group and you just like unleash everything. Like there is no faking it. Like if you're in this, like you're like the real deal. And I just thought it was kind of fascinating that they had something like this. I haven't really got to spend a whole lot of time on looking into it. It was just like a quick glance, but I'm also curious. I also want to look into it as a business model, Tiger 21, as a business, so there's that I want to like kind of dive in, but then there's also like being a member, you know what I mean? And I know that like, I think nowadays, what's real important or popular or I don't know, like powerful is like masterminds, you know? And so this is kind of what this reminds me of. It's like a pretty elite mastermind. And I know that, you know, we follow Sam Ovens and there's like a handful of people that have like their own masterminds, but I think that, yeah, that would be awesome to be involved in some of these masterminds, because I know Sam, I was watching a video and he was just kind of showcasing like the power of his mastermind and like the type of people that were showing up. I mean, it was insane. Like he has like this like tax guy that apparently can give you like 10%, like, you know, in taxes or something like that. Like
they try to lower your
they try to lower your taxes. Yeah. Down to 10%. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, that might not sound cool, but there's like, he's like really into the YouTube stuff too. So he has like these high end like YouTubers that are, you know, kind of show up and, you know, kind of talk about their experience. But he basically has like gathered this like YouTube creation with, and coupled with like your own content or your own like course or something like that, something that you are an expert at, and then you like basically combine the two, and which is really powerful. And that's kind of segues into the next one that I found. I don't know if you had anything off of that, if you wanted to speak to that, but I can segue into the next one.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, his mastermind is like all about selling high ticket, either course creation or, what was it? It was like, it was courses or something, or the mastermind itself. If you wanted to start your own mastermind and basically sell,
that's what it
like
was.
A high ticket mastermind.
Yep.
His is, Sam Ovens is 36,000 a year. And so he was like, you know, you can do it from anywhere between 20 and 40,000 a year. And we kind of teach you how to, you know, sell these courses or these masterminds. And, yeah, I thought it was pretty, I mean, he basically has like a new vision that he outlined where it was like, I think this is kind of the new wave of things where you kind of build an audience on YouTube, and, you know, you can sell courses off of it. You can sell masterminds off of it. And there's these really high ticket things. I mean, to even get into his thing, you need, you know, 30K a month in revenue.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you can get in his mastermind, and then there's plenty of people making, you know, you sell 10, you know, masterminds for 30,000, and now you've got 300,000 real easy. But more importantly, you've got like a group of, you know, really like strong, go-getting, smart type people that can add value to each other and the different skill sets that they have. So
yeah,
I think that's really powerful what he has. And I mean, it doesn't start there, you know, it probably started really small, but it kind of builds into something where you can bring all these, you know, people together that kind of have skill sets that align. So he's got the ads guy that help you sell ads. He's got the people that help you create content. He's got the guy on the back end that no one really wants to talk or care about, which is the tax guy. But I mean, when you're making that kind of money and the government's taking 30 to 50% of it, you start to care a little more. So
absolutely,
that's why that's important. So yeah, I thought it was really cool.
That's yeah, you explained it really well. That was good. I like what was it? I can't remember what I was going with that, but I can jump into this kind of basically off the same thing. I was reading this article on Triple Whale, which they also have an awesome YouTube channel, but they're like a platform for e-commerce. What would you say, like
Snapchat,
marketing attribution,
TikTok,
metrics, stuff like that.
Social channels,
essentially connect everything, you know, your Klaviyo and your e-com store, Snapchat, and so it kind of gives you right. But one of the articles is, you know, just saying, you know, why every brand should have a YouTube channel, and that was kind of going off of what we were just speaking about, you know. And then that's kind of like why we decided to, you know, build this podcast. I think that at the end of the day, if you can, and I think the name of the game for YouTube really like especially in the beginning, is just consistency, and like just having fun and just being, just like having a good time and having like a good value, like bringing value for sure. But then you'll get people to get more familiar with you. You know what I mean? Like just within the last 18 months, like I've learned about like Ali Abdaal, Alex Ramosi, you know what I mean? Like, there's like a handful, I'm drawing a blank, but like, I didn't know those guys, before. And now like, oh yeah, even Sam and Sean, like, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like I didn't know those guys like, shoot, like 3 months ago, you know what I mean? But like now I feel like I know them. I feel like they're like my friends. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of the day, I think that's what YouTube allows is like, you're essentially like in everybody's pocket. You're on their phone, you know what I mean? And so, if you're consistent, YouTube will reward you. And we have a kind of I guess a business buddy, Charlie Morgan. He also kind of looks up to Sam as well. And I mean, I'm literally watching his growth on YouTube just go up and up and up. Like I remember last, when he was kind of like just like
Right.
just barely doing it. I mean, I think I saw like 500 subscribers. Now he's at 6,000. Shoot, and that was like 2 days ago. So he's probably at like 10 by now. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy, and like he's super consistent. Sam's talking about it, but it's interesting to have a brand because like you have like these
Beast
people like
Rules and yeah.
Mr. Beast, and he has these his products, like his like CPG brand is, yeah, and it's really interesting. And then like this Logan Paul guy, he has this drink called Prime. But and then Emma Chamberlain, I actually watched her a little bit. That was when I was doing like my YouTube vlogs back then. You could go to my channel and you can kind of see some old school vlog style stuff, me running around. And so I was actually getting a lot of inspiration from her because she was growing so quick. It was just insane. And I felt like the way she was doing it, she was editing herself, but not only was she like, I felt like she was creating this trust between people like out there. She like had a really funny way of editing her videos, and so yeah, it was just something different that I hadn't seen before. And
Right.
one of her like things, like she always liked iced coffee, and so it doesn't surprise me that she has like her own coffee brand now. Emma is the queen of coffee. That's like, you know, and it's, yeah, it's super cool. They say welcome to the creator economy. You know what I mean? It's literally just like building your own show, selling your own products. That's really what it kind of boils down to, because you're building your show, you're building trust, you're building, your authentic,
Mm-hmm.
like us talking about Formula One, people can gravitate towards that. Us owning, an agency, people gravitate towards that. Us being in like the e-commerce world and like wanting to grow, and you enjoy investing in finance and stuff like that. Like that's all like just human stuff, you know what I mean? And it's just like it builds like really cool trust. And like nowadays, it seems like that's like the thing, most people are like on their phones and stuff like that. But there was also someone, I can't remember who it was, but the story, the quick story of it was, with the pandemic, happening, he was kind of bored, or I can't remember who it was, but they essentially just started a YouTube channel during the pandemic and was like, well, what else can I do that, that makes sense, right? Like, there's people, they're not going to be like spending a whole lot of money on things, but let me just make a YouTube channel, and people are sitting at the house anyways, maybe they'll watch, you know what I mean? And then, yeah, it actually kind of worked out for them. And, they end up making a pretty successful YouTube channel. And, apologies, I don't
Good
have
use of your time.
any
Straight
information on that, but I just remember that story.
Yeah, so
kinda
they talk
stuck
about
out to me.
three
It was just like,
things
oh, that was
that
kind of That was actually
you
kind
can
of
do to
smart.
start a
Like,
brand YouTube
you
channel,
know, like,
like a YouTube channel for your
yeah,
brand, or
exactly,
if
exactly.
you already have a brand, start a
Um,
YouTube channel, or if you want to create a brand, start a YouTube channel, I guess. Either way, you can, um, they say three steps or three things that you can do. Um, it says do
mhm,
these three things: provide value through entertainment, expertise, experience, or storytelling. I'm sure there's other ways to provide value, but those are the kind of four they list. Um, and then two is authenticity. Um, so, just kind of being yourself, really, like not just trying to like push products or sell stuff, just
mhm.
kind of being a human, which I think naturally leads to the third one, I think, which is community. And I think you have to have
Yep,
authenticity. You have to have some kind of like value.
exactly.
And that's what brings the community. Like with the Emma Chamberlain thing, it's like, she kind of
Mhm,
really hit on the coffee thing, and it was just something that I actually don't know anything about her. I just keep hearing her name, but it
mhm,
sounds like, just from an outside perspective that knows nothing, that she just created a
mhm,
community around something that she really loved, and she was just enjoyed it enough to make videos about it. And through making those videos, people were like, oh, this person just really loves coffee. I enjoy their kind of character, their personality, who they are. And then it kind of just snowballs into like
mhm.
something larger, where now she can talk about other things, because like you said, she's built trust. People know that she's just
Yep.
not some salesy, you know, kind of person. And so now she can build a huge coffee brand, what people really know her for at the very
Mhm.
heart of it all, right on the back of that thing. And if you've already got a huge, YouTube following, you can, she probably was doing other channels too, but even if not, you could probably
Mhm.
start your other channels right off the back of that huge YouTube following. So super cool.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I saw it back in the day, trying to do it, but it's not easy, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to
Right.
YouTube. Not only, I think the hardest part is getting over yourself, like getting over what's in your head, like getting out of your way, right? That's that's like the main that's like one of the
Hmm.
hardest parts because a lot of people are like, "Oh, my hair's not right," or you know what I mean? Like I talk funny or I'm just not good in front of the camera, whatever, whatever. But if you so happen to have kind of like that kind of juice, I don't know what to call it, but go for it, jump in. And it's really, you don't want to really necessarily compare yourself to these people because they've been doing it for years, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of how we took this. Like, yeah, we're using this platform called Riverside, like whatever, like we're not, you know what I mean? I think at this level, we're just trying to just put stuff out there, you know what I mean, and just kind of show people who we are. Sean from My First Million, he kind of explained it as like he's like out there in the world, and people trust him, and they know how he thinks, right? Especially when in the business world, you know what I mean. They know how he thinks about business and just what kind of person he is, and so that's kind of how it is with all like the famous people. It's not necessarily about trying to be famous. It's just growing in a community. I think that's where it kind of just boils into it. It's like getting out of your way and then getting out there and then talking about your interests, talking about what's your experiences and like what
Exactly.
you're learning and then like try and provide value. And then at the same time you're building a community of people that are kind of in the same area, you know what I mean? And then that naturally builds trust and then boom, like you're you know you're like on YouTube, you got a decent little community. You're probably going to end up making some brand deals or whatever's going on. You're going to do some ad stuff on YouTube, so you'll make a little bit of money there. um, and in a business like context, it's like I know my buddy John, he's in like the retro game stuff, and I thought it would be really cool for him to kind of build. He's got a pretty decent following on Twitter, but like also kind of get in front of the camera as well. And because part of his like um, his business is like reaching out to people that own these games, these rights holders, right? And so it's like they're not like just like holding up a sign and saying I'm a rights holder to these old school retro games. Like he's got to go and like dig for these people, you know what I mean? And so my thought was like, you know, build a following, build this experience that he's building these games, and then they'll end up coming to you rather than you going to them, because you're starting to like.
I like the way that Gary Vee puts it, because he's like,
that kind of world.
If you don't want to be on camera, you don't have to be. You can do whatever medium suits you best. If you would rather write, if you'd rather just do a voice note, so it's still your voice that people can familiarize themselves with, but you know, you don't want to be on camera, like do the voice note, write it, or just record on your phone of like the video games, or like this game maybe that you want to license, and just, you know, kind of create that consistency of like putting out that content there. So I think that naturally will build the community, and it's not you having to be on camera all the time. But yeah, right? Like, so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's like finding something that you're good at, or like you enjoy, for probably more importantly that you enjoy. And yeah, you're 100% right. It doesn't have to be video, but if you happen to be good at it or like comfortable with it, go for it. But the next one would be maybe voice. And so the traditional podcast is really just audio. So you could just go that route. And it's actually a lot easier to do audio podcasts than it is to do a video podcast. You know what I mean? You could essentially be anywhere. I remember when we first started, we were working on a different podcast.
I would say that this is easier, it was more than doing that, because we had to like
just audio. We were like in the park and
set up the microphones,
kind of being kind of cold out there.
I don't know. It was just like now it's. I would use like the Atomic Habits kind of thing, where you say it a lot. We reduced the friction. It's like literally that's what Riverside does for us. We can just kind of jump into the studio, hit record. Here we are, and it's really easy to kind of get this edited and published. And oftentimes I don't even edit it; we just publish it because I like the raw format. But I think what's really important too, outside of consistency, is like then they say it on this Triple Well blog article, which is like you got to play the long game. You know, it's like it's not about, you're not going to build a community in a month or a year. You know, you might be a small one, but if you're really gonna, you know, try and I mean, like you said, if it's something that you enjoy, you've already probably been doing it for 5 to 10 years anyway. So what's like, keep doing it, you know, build that community around it. Like I think about like Alex Ramosi was, I think, hiring some people to help him with his content. And they were asking him like, what are your goals? And he was like, my goal is to do this for 10 plus years. And they're like, oh, wow, I don't hear anyone talk about it like that. They usually have like I want to get to 100,000 subscribers or 1 million. And he's like, no, I don't care about any of that. All I care about is doing it, you know, for a long time. That's the only reason I'm doing this, is to do it for a long time, to help as many people as possible. You know, I think those larger visions are what really drive people. And I love that.
Yep, I agree. I was just curious, because you mentioned like that 10-year mark, right? And so like Emma Chamberlain, she's got
so
11.9 million subscribers, and she joined June 13, 2016. So good chunk of time. Huh? 8 years. So yeah, good chunk of time. I know Mr. Beast, he's been doing it for a chunk of time. And then actually, I think it might not show all the way, because I think I was listening to his story, and he had a channel before this one. And so, yeah, he's even been sooner than this. So, yeah, this one's February 19, 2012. So, yeah, 10 years, right? So, and so he's been doing it, over 10 years, and he's got 108 million subscribers. You know what I mean? But that just, and it kind of ties into that whole 10,000 hours, I feel like. it's like become a mastery. It takes like 10 years. And so, but you know what I mean? But like, again,
Yeah, the idea of the 10,000 hours is what is it like?
talking
It's
about
just
it,
basically like a full-time job's worth of effort.
it should matter.
If you were to do 40 hours
forever, you know what I mean?
week, 5 days a week over 10 years, I guess that's like 10,000 hours. So you could shorten that time if you worked more, or it could take you 20 years if you just did this part-time. But yeah, I think it's a decent benchmark. I wouldn't hold it as gospel truth, but like, yeah, I like Malcolm Gladwell's stuff. I think that one's really good.
Yep. Sure. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I agree. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else. I know, Al, I think there's some, people, maybe even Alex hadn't really been on there too long, but to his credit, he offers like some of the best, value. And so,
yeah, I think he does a good job of just what Gary Vee says. Where in the early days, he just basically documented what he was doing as he was
January 3rd,
and was posting it up. A lot of it was even for like his own himself or for his team when he was building the team. And so in the later years, like he just started re-releasing that stuff. Like, hey, I did this for my team. Thought it might be valuable to everyone else. Here you go, and just like super low lift. It wasn't edited. It was just like really, just super valuable. And I think that's why he crushes it, because he's just, literally his like mission is basically just like helping as many people grow their business to 3 million, as possible, so he can potentially invest in it. And I think it's awesome, because everything you learn up to like even 1 million is like, such a huge value add that, it's not easy to get there, but you learn so much along the way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. And the last one I looked up is Ali Abdaal. He's got 3.46 million subscribers, and it shows that he started his in 2007. But like I think that the actual like really bulk of his, he didn't really get going until later on, like maybe
it was probably like while he was a student, like a med student,
3 or 4 years ago. It looks like he I just switched it to the oldest, and it looks like 6 years ago. But yeah. Yeah, I'm actually seeing some. Yeah, the BMAT tips, section chemistry, calculus. Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, it looks. Yeah, that's 5 years ago. So, it's so funny. He looks like a little nugget. He looks like a little kid. It's cool. But that's cool at the same time, man. Like if you have this stuff, and then you end up having kids, you know what I mean?
It's pretty wild to think about
all
even
this
people that were born like in 2020, like basically their entire life is probably like,
you know what I mean? And
at least digitally photographed, if not
that's
video,
crazy, man. That's cool.
digitally, just out there. So that's kind of wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We had like a big giant recorder, the ones that you said. I think my mom had one. She was borrowing it from somebody, and she made like one video, and that was it. But then years later, we get like it was like a mini tape, and it was it looked like
those are my early like
big,
skateboarding videos were made.
I would take that and make crazy videos with my cousins and my friends when I was younger, and you know what I mean. And I know it was probably. I was gonna say, yeah, I bet it was real big in skateboarding too, being able to film that stuff. So, that's cool, man. I really am like excited and passionate about growing like a community, and kind of just figuring it out and kind of going for it. And really at the main thing of that is just really being able to help, kind of learn, like go through what we learn, like go through our like life experiences, and then be able to, teach them or show like, hey, like I actually done this before. It didn't work. It didn't work out because of this, or like I've done this, and this. and this one worked. Try this one first. You know what I mean? Kind of could help a lot of people out. You know what I mean? But um, I have one last one that I thought was cool. It's called Micro Acquire, and it's a like a platform or like a company or whatever where you can actually buy and sell companies, like startup companies. You have to sign up and like do this like whole thing
Yeah,
to
I'm sure
really
there's like a little bit of a vetting
get some
process.
information.
If you
Because I
do
wanted to like
want to
dive
do
in
that,
and
there's Biz
check
Buy
out, see
Sell,
what
there's
businesses are
Empire
available,
Flippers, and
but
there's
I haven't
Flippa. Those
signed
are
up yet.
some
But
other ones.
could be right.
Hmm.
Yeah, those ones like
Yeah,
I like those because it's like you can go in there and buy like a you can go in there and buy like a toothpaste brand. You know what I mean? Like a Shopify store. You know what I mean? Which is really cool. Um, and I learned this from one community I was in. It was a coding community called Freemote, right? And the owner, Aaron Jack, he actually has a really good
yeah.
following on YouTube as well. And he actually
Okay.
bought a a business, a SaaS company on
And
here.
he
I think this is
documented
what
that
it's
on
kind of
YouTube. I thought
predominantly
that was really
focused
cool.
on is like kind of SaaS style businesses. And yeah, and he went in here and acquired one. I think he yes, exactly. I thought that was really, really cool. But yeah, there's being able to like yeah, like if you have like maybe the investment like and you don't really want to start from scratch, or if
Yeah,
you
just
have already
use
done it and you want to kind of get back
your
into it,
existing skill
you could
set, kind of
definitely
your
try
circle of confidence,
one of these
right?
platforms and the
To
platforms that you listed
build
too.
up the business
I think that's really
that
neat.
may already kind of have the bones of it put together. Yeah, it's definitely easier to like build something that's already kind of at least had the bones of it built out than to start something
Exactly.
from scratch. So
Hmm.
yeah, but you got to definitely. I mean, it helps to have kind of circle of competence in that area first. I definitely wouldn't
It has like a
buy a SaaS
foundation already kind
company
of laid out.
if I didn't know anything about coding
Yeah,
or things like that.
sure. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. He was he was a coder. He built the free moat and he worked at Uber and he went in there thinking that this like platform that they were using for coding, I think it's called like Bubble, and it's like specifically for being able to build like kind of SaaS programs or like apps using this platform called Bubble. And after kind of going through, and it was unfortunately after he purchased the SaaS company, like he realized that the Bubble platform wasn't like that great, and he would have much rather kind of gone a traditional coding route rather than using that platform. So, kind of to your point, it's like, you know, you you know, you go in there and you try and do your best, but some things might just like might not work out. But yeah, I think it still worked out because he ended up just hiring a Bubble developer. So I think it being kind of a lower, I guess because it's not so popular, you know what I mean? I think that maybe the rate will be a little higher, trying to find a bubble developer, but I haven't actually caught
Yeah,
up
and since
or
he
really
had the
stayed
competence
connected
of
to
coding,
it.
like
I
you
don't
said,
know
he
if he
worked
made any
as
more
a
videos
coder
on it,
for
but
Google, for not for Google,
nonetheless,
for Uber.
I think
You
that
know, he
this
was able
platform's
to
pretty cool.
kind of
Micro
do his
Acquire.
due diligence, vet out that Bubble company, and ended up acquiring it. And then using what he knows,
Hmm.
was able to see, okay, here are the bugs. Let me go hire someone. Sure, I could probably do it myself, but maybe it makes more sense for me to hire someone, kind of direct them on what needs to be fixed, let them go to work on it, and then yeah, kind of fix the issues. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I think we're going to cut this one short for today.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I say
One
short,
and
it's
done.
already 40 minutes, man. That was the fastest 40 minutes that I've ever actually experienced. But yeah, one and done. I know, right? Yeah, one and done. This is the next
Cool. The rain
one.
stopped. That's
Was it number 7? Just one after the other. Just keep on keeping on. But yeah, again, if you, oh yeah, no, yeah, totally. The sun's coming out too, so that's really nice. But yeah, if you happen to get any ideas, feel free to let us know. You can find us on Twitter. We'll probably end up adding all the information to our channel. I think actually it might already have some stuff in there, but yeah, we kind of want to get a feel for the direction of this channel. Be able to get some comments in here. And then we're also going to be having some guests pretty soon. So we got some interesting people that will be coming on, talking with us on this with just different topics. I want to try and find some more weird stuff because I know in our bio is like talking about brainstorming business ideas and weird stuff that we find on the internet. So I'm gonna kind of keep an eye open for some weird stuff on the internet. And if you, Sean B, or someone watching this happens to have some weird stuff, man, send it our way and we'll check it out. Cool. All right, we're out of here. Later, guys.